Ready?
Data is off. Oh yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
भजहु रे मना श्रीनन्दनन्दन अभय चरणारविन्द रे। भजहु रे मना श्रीनन्दनन्दन अभय चरणारविन्द रे। दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तरो होए भव सिंधु रे। तरो होए भव सिंधु रे। शीतातप बात परीक्षण ए दिन जामिनी जागिरे। शीतातप बात परीक्षण ए दिन जामिनी जागिरे। विफल से बिनु कृपण दुर्जन। 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 चपल सुखल लागी रे। चपल सुखल चपल सुखल लागी रे। चपल सुखल लागी रे। ए धन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इथे के आछे परती रे। पुत्र परिजन इथे के आछे परती रे। कमल दल जल जीवन तलमला। कमल दल जल जीवन तलमला। भजहु हरि पद नीति रे। श्रवण कीर्तन स्मरण वंदन पाद सेवन दास्य रे। श्रवण कीर्तन आत्मनिवेदनः
पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन
पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन
पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन
गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे
गोविंद दास अभिलाष
गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे
गोविंद दास अभिलाष
भजहु रे मन श्री नंदनंदन अभय चरणारविंद रे
भजहु रे मन श्री नंदनंदन अभय चरणारविंद रे
अभय चरणारविंद रे अभय चरणारविंद रे The translation is not there.
Yeah, it's there, Mataji.
Not on this. You can read?
Oh mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which may one make fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons. Both in the day and at night I remain sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold, the wind and the rain. For a fraction of flickering happiness I had uselessly served wicked and miserly men. What assurance of real happiness is there in all of one's wealth, youthfulness, sons and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari. It is the desire and great longing of Govind Das to engage himself in the 9 processes of bhakti, namely, hearing the glories of Lord Hari, chanting those glories, constantly remembering him, offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshipping him with flowers and incense, so forth, serving him as a friend, and completely offering the Lord one's very self.
It's a beautiful song, right? Because of heat and cold and water and rain, we thought to sing this one song. All right. So we are reading Canto 5, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5. We are on chapter 8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ ज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविष्णुतले प्रभुपादतिप्रिय श्री गिरिराजाय स्वामिने सुभक्त्ररदरासबिहारिभ्यं भक्तिभ्यश्चात्मादान्। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुजनतारणम्। So we are discussing Canto 5, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 8. We are on text 9. So remember, so this is, everybody's comfortable? Not hot?
Yeah.
Not hot? You're hot?
No.
Oh no, okay, fine. So, yeah. So we are discussing about how Maharaj Bharat, he left his kingdom and he went to, oh God, what's that name of this ashram? Pulaha ashram, right? And which is like near the Gandaki river. And so he's there to do his sadhana, right? His worship of Govinda. So he was there. And then one day while he sat down to chant Gayatri, right? He sat down to chant Gayatri. In front of his vision came one doe. So that doe was drinking water in the Gandaki river. And hearing the sound of a lion, that doe became so afraid, she jumped over the river, and she was carrying a child, so she dropped that child. And the mother died, and this baby doe was left behind. So Maharaj Bharat he felt great compassion for what has happened. So he immediately lifted the infant deer from the waves, meaning it fell in the water. God, anybody will, like a sincere friend, he lifted the infant deer from the waves, and knowing it to be motherless, brought it to his ashram. Like a puppy sometime, right? So here there's no puppy, there is a deer. So he brought the deer to his ashram. But what happened to him is that deer became the sole object of his attraction and affection. So describe that. Let's read text 9. Aho batayam harina kunaka kripana ishvara ratha charana Paribrahmanarayena swagana surit bandhubhya parivarjitah sharanam cha mopasadito mammeva mata pitaro bratri jyatin yothikam chaivopeyaya nanyam kanchana vedamayati vishrabdhas Chata eva maya matparayanasya poshana palana rinana lalanam anasuya nanustheyam sharanyo piksha dosha vidusha. The great king Maharaj Bharat began to think, alas, this helpless young deer, by the force of time, an agent of the Supreme Person of Godhead, has now lost its relatives and friends and has taken shelter of me. It's very dangerous to know philosophy. Right?
It's very dangerous.
To know philosophy.
Yeah.
So now he's using the philosophy.
He's taking his
He's saying that, alas, this helpless young deer by the force of time. Everybody we speak of that Kala, right? Kala is very strong. And this Kala is the agent of the Supreme Lord. So due to Kala destiny, you could say, has now lost its relatives and friends. And then what? I'm the agent of the Supreme Lord, right? So he has taken shelter of me. It's like to hear like ignorance spoken in Shastric language. Right? This is an example. It doesn't know anyone but me. Alright? Doesn't know anyone but me. As I have become its father, mother, brother, and relatives. Right? The agent, the Supreme Person, Godhead, has made this deer. He has made me the father, mother, friend, relatives of that small deer. This deer is thinking in this way. So now he has put thoughts in the mind of the deer. Say that the deer is thinking this way. God. This deer is thinking in this way, and it has full faith in me. It doesn't know anyone but me. Therefore, I should not be envious and think that for the deer, my own welfare will be destroyed.
So he's aware of certain.
Yeah.
He's rationalizing.
Yeah. It doesn't know anyone but me. Therefore, I should not be envious and think that for the deer, my own welfare will be destroyed. So he's aware that maybe, it's not proper for me to be so much thinking and be absorbed in that deer and thinking I'm the everything and everyone, right? I should certainly raise, protect, gratify, and fondle it. When it has taken shelter with me, how can I neglect it? Even though the deer is disturbing my spiritual life, I realize that a helpless person who has taken shelter cannot be neglected. That would be a great fault. When a person is advanced in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness, he naturally becomes very sympathetic towards all living entities suffering in the material world. You know, even this rat who is running around, don't you feel sympathy for it? The rats. The rats, they're running around, right? Don't you feel sympathy for it? It's natural, right? Even though they're nuisance. Naturally, such an advanced person thinks of the suffering of the people in general. However, if one does not know of the material sufferings of fallen souls and becomes sympathetic because of bodily comforts, as in the case of Bharat Maharaj, such sympathy or compassion is the cause of one's fall down. If one is actually sympathetic to fallen, suffering humanity, he should try to elevate people from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. As far as the deer was concerned, Bharat Maharaj became very sympathetic, but he forgot that it was impossible for him to elevate a deer to spiritual consciousness, because after all, a deer is but an animal. It was very dangerous for Bharat Maharaj to sacrifice all his regulative principles simply to take care of an animal. The principles enunciated in Bhagavad Gita should be followed. Yam hi na vyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha. As far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone. However, by the grace of Krishna, we may raise a person to spiritual consciousness if we ourselves follow the rules and regulations. If we give up our own spiritual activities and simply become concerned with the bodily comforts of others, we will fall into a dangerous position. So if we want to preach, then we should have what? What is required first? If we are to preach and help others, so what is the first requirement?
We should also follow self.
Yes, we should have a good sadhana. Right? See what Prabhupada is saying here. If we don't have a good sadhana, so here Bharat Maharaj, he became neglectful of his sadhana and he was only absorbed in taking care of that small deer. Right? More and more he's neglected. Not only physically he started to neglect, but mentally also. While he's doing his puja, his thought is going to that small animal. So Prabhupada is saying here, there's no way Maharaj Bharat could elevate that deer. Because it's an animal. He cannot elevate it. He cannot train him. He cannot give him Krishna consciousness. Right? So yes, give him place. It's an animal. So give it its place. Give it its food, whatever is required. But not at the expense of... Yeah. Text.
Person of such great exalt. How did, I'm finding it difficult, how he got swayed so easily, Mataji. He was such an ideal Purush.
Yes. So this is exceptional. This incident is exceptional. It doesn't happen to everyone. Alright? Is exceptional, and it is included in Bhagavatam to teach us, how that mind, see the mind, unless and until we are completely out of this material world, there's every chance that we can get caught somewhere. And spiritual history is full of this. Like Vishwamitra, right? Last moment he got caught. This one, that one, right? Last moment, so here he got caught by a small deer. Sita Devi gives the example, right? Right? She gave the example, this material world is so enticing. So here, the mood of compassion became his fall down. Right? So that's how Krishna had to push Arjuna. So you can't be compassionate because these people are your relatives. Right? They are actually mischievous. They're mischievous and they are not good for the society. So just because they are your family members, so therefore you don't want to punish them, right? So it has to be sorted out. So, see, the material world is not a good place to live. Because it's like all your affection has to become like stunted. Right? It has to freeze. And like yesterday we were reading about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he took sannyas. So he had his wife, he had his mother. He had to walk out from the house. He has the most loving mother, the most loving wife, and he had all his associates were also loving. He had to walk out from their company. Right? What for? So that he's taking sannyas, so that he can preach. Today we are here because of the sacrifice of Vishnupriya and Mother Sachi. Right? So, but these are temporary. Whatever sacrifice we may do now, these are temporary. So it's like you sacrifice now, but you get unlimited. You get unlimited, right? Whoever. So this is the mistake that's happening here. Like Bharat Maharaj, he sacrificed his kingdom, his wife, everything, and he took sannyas, right? He's in the ashram, but he forgot about his family, he forgot his kingdom. He could focus in one small animal. It is just showing. It is just showing how much. You need to sit there. It is just showing how much, like this idea. This idea that I can be an Ishvara. The main problem is that I believe I'm an Ishvara. That's the main problem. That I can do something for others.
Bharat Maharaj.
Yeah. He thought, I'm an Ishvara. Without me, this deer will not be taken care of. All right. We have heard of stories of birds whose mother died, right? But they are taken care of by other birds.
Yeah.
Right? We've heard stories of this.
Yeah.
So meaning that this agent of Krishna, right, is doing its work. But Bharat Maharaj is saying, I am that agent. To such an extent that he is neglecting his sadhana. That was the fault. There's no fault in taking care of that baby deer. No fault at all. But to do it at the expense of the sadhana, then it became the cause of his fall down. We read earlier also with Rishabdev, right? He didn't want to exhibit mystic power because he said that the mind is like an animal, right? Anytime it can get captured. So even though set free from the hunter, but anytime again it can get captured. So don't trust the mind. Just don't trust the mind. Now his mind got captured. Where are we?
We have completed.
Okay, so we are on which text? 10. Okay, so you read.
नूनं हर्य साधव उपशमशील कृपाण सुदत एव विदारते विदे स्वार्थानपि गुरु सुदत एव विदारते स्वार्थानपि गुरु Translation. Even though one is in the renounced order, one who is advanced certainly feels compassion for suffering living entities. One should certainly neglect his own personal interest, although they may be very important to protect one who has surrendered. Purport. Maya is very strong. In the name of philanthropy, altruism, and communism, people are feeling compassion for suffering humanity throughout the world. Philanthropists and altruists do not realize that it is impossible to improve people's material condition. Material conditions are already established by the superior administration according to one's karma. They cannot be changed. The only benefit we can render to suffering beings is to try to raise them to spiritual consciousness. Material comforts cannot be increased or decreased. It is therefore said in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.18, what's that word? Sukham. As far as material happiness is concerned, that comes without effort, just as tribulations come without effort. Material happiness and pain can be attained without endure. One should not bother for material activities. If one is at all sympathetic or able to do good to others, he should endure to raise people to Krishna consciousness. In this way, everyone advances spiritually by the grace of the Lord. For our instructions, Bharat Maharaj acted in such a way. We should be very careful not to be misled by so-called welfare activities conducted in bodily terms. One should not give up his interest in attaining the favor of Lord Vishnu at any cost. Generally, people do not know this or they forget it. Consequently, they sacrifice their original interest, the attainment of Vishnu's favor, and engage in philanthropic activities for bodily comfort.
So this is about like destiny is fixed, right? Destiny is fixed. Material philanthropists, see what's happening in that? Philanthropists and altruists. So they think, let's say people don't have a house, all right? So they think, let's all get together, we'll pool together, and then we'll give houses to these people. So philanthropists and altruists do not realize that it is impossible to improve people's material conditions. Here it is a statement. It is impossible to improve people's material conditions. Why? Because that material condition is fixed by destiny. Alright? So each and everybody has their quota of destiny, and whatever you may do, you cannot change that destiny. It's like fixed. So material conditions are already established by the superior administration, all those grahas, right?
But if people work hard to get a better house, to buy a better car, they work hard.
Yeah, they work hard and they will get according to their karma. They are working hard for it. And according to their karma, it's not that working hard is proportionate to the result. Right? Is it true? Working hard is proportionate to the result?
Not necessary.
Yes. You may go on working hard and you never get it. Personal experience. Right? You may not succeed, and that's why Krishna told Arjun, success or failure, you do your duty. When you're working for Krishna, then you are not angry. You're not upset. When you're working on behalf of Krishna, when there is success or failure, you are not angry. Because you're working for Krishna. But with ordinary people, they become frustrated, angry, more greedy, more jealous, right? So they cannot be changed. So it's fixed. Prarabdha karma is prarabdha karma. Whatever you do is not going to change. But you have to do something different so that you get a better destination. Right? This is what is being explained here. So, the only benefit we can render to suffering beings is to raise them to spiritual consciousness. Material comforts cannot be increased or decreased, meaning that if the laws of nature have given you this, nobody can take it away from you. Your destiny has given you this. Whatever you made somebody else, you may be angry, jealous, politicking this way, that way. It's yours and it's yours. The only thing that happens to you, your life becomes miserable because others are angry that you have this. But nobody can take it away from you. So this is what we are reading here. So material comforts cannot be increased, like we say, by working harder, acquiring more. You may not even get the money. I worked so hard, I wasn't paid. Right? Because you're not destined to have this. And if you got something by destiny, everybody's looking, how did you get this? Destiny gave. Nobody can take it away. Alright, it's fixed. So, it is therefore said in Srimad Bhagavatam, as far as material happiness is concerned, that comes without effort. So, whatever you're enjoying in life, it's coming without effort. What does that mean? You've already worked in your previous life. Alright? So without effort in this life, it's just coming to you. Alright. And similarly, just as tribulation comes without effort, meaning from your past life, prarabdha karma, from past life, tribulation is coming and you can't do anything about it. It's just coming. Material happiness and pain can be attained without endeavor. One should not bother for material activities. If one is at all sympathetic or able to do good to others, he should endeavor to raise people to Krishna consciousness. So there is one factor that can change this destiny. Right? So this is elevation to Krishna consciousness. Why? Why?
हमारे एफर्ट को देख के हमारी डेस्टिनी चेंज कर सकते हैं अगर हम हार्ड वर्क करते हैं कृष्ण कॉन्शियस की तरफ निष्काम भाव से भगवान के हाथ में भगवान
No, this is very crucial because everybody asks us, what will I get if I come to ISKCON, if I chant Hare Krishna, what will I get, right? Yes. So what is that advancement?
हम ये समझ जाए
1 minute. Yeah?
Getting more closer to your understanding.
क्योंकि हम ये समझ जाते हैं कि हम ये शरीर नहीं है, हम आत्मा है
Then,
और हमें तो हमारे ओरिजिन घर भगवान के घर जाना है, तो हमें ये शरीर माध्यम के रूप में मिला है, तो फिर हम भगवान की भक्ति करके भगवान के घर वापस जा सकते हैं। अगर ये ज्ञान आ गया तो फिर हम दूसरों को भी वो ज्ञान देके ऊपर उठा सकते हैं,
yeah,
उसमें कॉन्शियस कर सकते हैं।
what more?
And also, it helps us to focus on the process than the result. I have to do this, so I focus on the result, on the process. I need to do this, after this, after this, after this. The result is not in mine. The process is in my control.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is that we stop sinful activities.
First one,
We stop sinful activities.
We don't
Right.
enjoy. When we know we are not this body, we don't want to enjoy.
Right? Because why are we suffering? It's because of these sinful activities, right? And that this desire to be in this material world, to be like the enjoyers of material resources. And sinful activity comes as a result of the desire to enjoy the material resources. Right? So, Prabhupada is saying that one should not bother for material activities because you cannot solve the problem. Whether there is a material problem, you cannot use another material solution to solve a spiritual problem. The spiritual problem is that we want to be enjoyers. Right? That's the problem. We want to be enjoyers, then that's why we put in this material world. We can see the whole world around us. One nation attacking another one. What for? For enjoyment, for capturing their land, for increasing their power, their ego, right? So this is happening nationwide, but this is also happening in the household, right? Another person wants to capture, dominate somebody else. Same principle. There it is like wide, nationwide, but here it is also local, right? So, but if so this is to remind ourselves, even when in a family, if we want to solve some problem, now we will try to do, counseling, all types of division, this, right? But finally, here Prabhupada is saying nothing is going to work. What will work is that you just have to make everybody understand, look, you are not the body, you are the soul. If you understand you are not the body, you are the soul, and you become aware of karma, watch what you do, right? Karmana manasa gira, your action, what you're thinking and what you're speaking, right? So if you're more aware of this, then you can control yourself in the way you're dealing with people, right? Then you can stop those actions that are creating all the havoc in the house, right? Just stop it. So good qualities are developed when we become devotees, right? What is it that makes us develop all those bad qualities? Because of Kam, Krodh, Lobha, Moha, Matsarya, Mad. These 6 enemies of the soul, when it attacks the soul, it makes us do wrong things. And therefore, the universal administration will catch us. Right? And then give us, okay, this much you deserve and this much you don't deserve. So we want to go beyond. Right? So Prabhupada is saying, one should not bother for material activities if one is at all sympathetic or able to do good to others. He should endeavor to raise people to Krishna consciousness, meaning go beyond this material consciousness. In this way, everyone advances spiritually by the grace of the Lord. So, what is this grace of the Lord? So, meaning that when I become conscious, so Krishna is giving instruction, right? So, when I start to accept and follow those instructions, which are given in very simply in Bhagavad Gita, the entire dialogue is how to behave, right? Isn't it? Somebody told me, we were doing a Bhagavad Gita class, Maharaji, beginning till end is only about good qualities. Then I say, yes, that's why Krishna is teaching us very high philosophy, right? Bhagavad Gita is not at all high philosophy. So, in chapter 2, here, then in chapter this, there, then again, wherever, pops up, whole list of good qualities, that's all. I say, yes, I was very disappointed when finally understood what's Bhagavad Gita. It's only to make you become a human being, right? Because Kauravas and Pandavas, right, they're fighting over what? Over kingdom. So much Krishna had to speak, right? What to do, what not to do, describe all the qualities of the Kauravas, don't be like this, right? And you, Arjuna, you're so great, right? You think you're a great Pandit, you know what to do, right? So finally, it's a shame to read Bhagavad Gita, if you ask me. It's not a great, it's not a high standard level of Krishna consciousness. It's only how to be a decent human being, right? So there is more to Krishna consciousness than this basic thing. And it's all based on one thing only. What do you do? How you behave? Right? So for our instruction, so now how we are advancing. So Prabhupada is saying that when we start to behave properly, meaning we become obedient to Krishna's instruction, then what happened? Krishna start to enlighten us about our own real self. Then at the time of death, he lights up the path by which I can come out of this material world because I'm no longer fit to be in the material world. Right now, all of us, we are very much fit to live in the material world. Right? This is where we deserve to be. So therefore, happiness, distress, Shita, Vata, Kapha. We have to endure the rainy season, then arthritis, then the autumn season when it is hot, then dripping with water. Right? All this. So we are candidates for the material world. But if we become Krishna conscious, Krishna opens the door, right? Opens the door and let the soul go out. So this is by the grace of the Lord. And we are happy to go out. We are willing and happy to go out. And we are ready to let the person also go out. For our instruction, now why all this happened? For our instruction, Bharat Maharaj acted in such a way. So Krishna used Bharat Maharaj, said, beware, even though you may be on the stage of bhava, right? Even though your father praised you and put you on the throne in front of 100 sons, it doesn't mean that you are immune to fall down. So never be too confident. Never be too confident of yourself. Always be humble. And humble and afraid of Maya. Afraid of Maya. Maya is very strong in the name of philanthropy, altruism, communism. People are feeling compassion for suffering humanity throughout the world. And Prabhupada is saying this is Maya. What is that Maya? You believe the body is the person. and that you can adjust something in materially and everything will be all right. But whatever you do, nothing works. So we read in Mahabharata, with the Kauravas, again and again, all the sages, including Vyasadeva himself, went to Dhritarashtra. He said, no good will come out from this war. You'll be losers. All of you, whether Pandavas or Kauravas, all of you will be losers. Right? So they know what is this material world. But Maya is such that the hope Dhritarashtra had that maybe I will win the battle. I will win the war. What strong Maya that here, who has given this book, Srila Vyasadeva, all instructions are given here for us. Right? He went and spoke to Vyasadeva, to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra could not give up the hope that maybe I will win this war. Even though Srila Vyasadeva is saying, these Pandavas, they are not human beings. They are sons of Devas. You cannot win. But Maya is so strong that maybe I will win. Horrible, right? So Bharat Maharaj is thinking that this small deer is dependent on me. So this Krishna is using Bharat Maharaj to teach us. We should be very careful not to be misled by so-called welfare activities conducted in bodily terms. One should not give up his interest in attaining the favor of Lord Vishnu at any cost. Generally, people do not know this or they forget it. Consequently, they sacrifice their original interest. So what is their original interest? The attainment of Vishnu's favor, and engage in philanthropic activities for bodily comfort. So they forget how to please Krishna. They forget that my first duty is to please Krishna. Right? Text 11. Iti krita nusanga asana shayanatana snana sanadishu sahamrega jahuna snehanubadha hridahyasit. Due to attachment for the deer, Maharaj Bharat lay down with it, walked about with it, bathed with it, and even ate with it. Thus his heart became bound to the deer in affection. 12. Kusha kusuma samit palasha phala mulodakanyar hishamano vrikshala brikadibhyo bhayam asam samano yada saha harina kunakena vanam samavishati. When Maharaj Bharat wanted to enter the forest to collect kusha grass, flowers, wood, leaves, fruits, roots and water, he would fear that dogs, jackals, tigers and other ferocious animals might kill the deer. He would therefore always take the deer with him when entering the forest. How Maharaj Bharat increased his affection for the deer is described herein. Even such an exalted personality as Bharat Maharaj, who had attained loving affection for the Supreme Person Godhead, fell down from his position due to his affection for some small animal. Consequently, as will be seen, he had to accept the body of a deer in his next life. Since this was the case with Bharat Maharaj, what can we say of those who are not advanced in spiritual life, but who become attached to cats and dogs? Due to their affection for their cats and dogs, they have to take the same bodily forms in the next life, unless they clearly increase their affection and love for the Supreme Person of Godhead. unless we increase our faith in the Supreme Lord, we shall be attracted to many other things. That is the cause of our material bondage. So it's okay to have affection for cats and dogs, but yeah.
At the level of cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Not confuse between the love, affection for the Supreme
Yes.
with the animal.
Yes. All right. So it's okay to love cats and dogs, but don't forget your Vishnu. Text 13. Patishu cha mugdha bhavena tatra vishakta mati pranaya bhara hridaya karpanyat skandhenodvahati evam utsanga urasi chadhayo palalayan muddham paramam avapa. When entering the forest, the animal would appear very attractive to Maharaj Bharat due to its childish behavior. It jumps around, right? It's very attractive. Maharaj Bharat would even take the deer on his shoulders and carry it due to affection. His heart was so filled with great love for the deer that he would sometimes keep it on his lap or when sleeping on his chest. In this way, he felt great pleasure in fondling the animal. Maharaj Bharat left his home, wife, children, kingdom, and everything else to advance in spiritual life in the forest. But again, he fell victim to material affection due to his attachment to an insignificant pet deer. What then was the use of his renouncing his family? One who is serious in advancing his spiritual life should be very cautious not to become attached to anything but Krishna. Sometimes in order to preach, we have to accept many material activities, but we should remember that everything is for Krishna. If we remember this, there is no chance of our victimized by material activities. Text 14. Kriyayam nirvatyamanayan antarale pyuthaya yadenam abhikchakshita tarhi vavasa varshapati prakriti sthena manasa tasma ashisha asaste shastistad vasate sarvata iti. When Maharaj Bharat was actually worshipping the Lord and was engaged in some ritualistic ceremony, although his activities were unfinished, he would still at intervals get up and see where the deer was. You're doing your puja, right? But your mind is somewhere else, right? So it's offense. And when you're doing your puja, you have to sit down and do the puja. Right now the mobile is ringing, this one at the door, that one at you can't do this. That's why early morning you have to do your puja when it is like quiet and nobody is there to disturb you. In this way he would look for it, and when he could see that the deer was comfortably situated, his mind and heart would be very satisfied, and he would bestow his blessings upon the deer, saying, "My dear calf, may you be happy in all respects." Swasti stat vatsa te sarvataha iti. Swasti. Right? Because his attraction for the deer was so intense, Bharat Maharaj could not concentrate upon worshipping the Lord or performing his ritualistic ceremonies. Even though he was engaged in worshipping the deity, his mind was restless due to his inordinate affection. While trying to meditate, he would simply think of the deer wondering where it had gone. In other words, if his mind is distracted from worship, a mere show of worship will not be of any benefit. The fact that Bharat Maharaj had to get up at intervals to look for the deer was simply a sign that he had fallen down from the spiritual platform. And there was nobody there to tell him what you are doing. See, one thing, this is very important. When you are in Sangha, right? When you are in Sangha, somebody will say, what are you doing? Right? And, bring your attention back. What are you doing? Right? He was all alone, looks like. So nobody was checking him, what he's doing. Right? So, please, we should not be upset or angry if anybody says anything to us. Right? Should think this person is my well-wisher. Isn't it? Those of us who lived in ashram, who had a guru, alright, who had a guru who doesn't hesitate to cut our false ego, alright, all of us, you just ask anyone who's been through the brahmachari or brahmacharini ashram, alright, so much correction, exactly as a parent will correct a child, exactly. Right? We were in Gurukul. But now, unfortunately, we can't even say one thing without the person feeling, oh, I'm offended. As soon as you take offense, then be like Bharat Maharaj. Right? Meaning, no, you can't make any spiritual advancement. If nobody can say anything, you take offense, then you're finished. Your spiritual life is finished. Oh, stagnating. So this is very, very important. Alright, we stop here because it's getting very intense what happens. So anything you like to say? Ask.
Is the swasti means inauspicious only?
Yes, swasti, yes. Yes.
That's the only.
Yeah, and that's why when we do the puja, right, we say Om Swasti, Swasti, and here he says Swasti to the animal. You understand?
This means we are living in a material world. We get absorbed in a material world. But we shouldn't lose our focus.
Yeah.
Do the activities, do all the things that one is supposed to do. At the same time, our North Star is
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing is offer and be aware.
Yes. Yeah. And I started by saying that to fall in Maya using Shastric language. See here again. So, it's His Holiness Bhakti-Chaitanya Swami said that this is an extraordinary incident. It's not something that will happen, but it is illustrating the fact that we can never be off our guard when it comes to devotional practice. Sadhana. We cannot be off our guard and think that I'm doing very well. All the time we have to check ourselves. Am I going, lower? Like after some time. See, enthusiasm is called utsahamai. Utsahamai, meaning the beginning, so much utsaha, I'm going to be Haridas Thakur. Right? Haridas Thakur chanted 108 rounds, right? 108, 16 rounds. Right? So I'm going to be Haridas Thakur. And then very soon, everything is collapsing. You can't do. So you forget all, and when you can't do, then you give up altogether.
Yeah.
Right? So therefore, devotional life is a step by step. And I said it last time, I'm saying it again. after 5 years, because you become confident that now I know. It takes 5 years for you to do an MA, right? So you feel confident, right? I'm good, I'm an MA. Not this BA, I'm an MA, right? Confident. And you feel I can be left on my own now, I can run my own program, right? Check yourself after 10 years. Alright? Check. How am I doing? Right? Again, check myself after 15 years. How am I doing? Right? Unless a yogi cannot be distracted, a yogi must be extremely attentive. We are bhakti yogis, we cannot be casual. It's not that Prabhupada has opened the doors, has opened the temple and say, chant and be happy. And so this is, to bring the crowd so that they don't commit sinful activities, right? But if you are to go back home, back to Godhead, you have to be this focused, one-pointed attention yogi, right? Because see, everybody is looking at the time of death. It's not going to be a race at the time of death, right? It's not going to be, mugging up at the last minute. It doesn't work that way. So we're all concerned about our next birth. So being casual, be with the flow, cruising along, So if we really want, the door to Vaikuntha is very, very, very narrow and you have to go through it, right? So at no time can you relax your effort. So yes, we know we go up and down. So we already discussed how Bharat Maharaj, he made that mistake that after that he became extremely strict with himself, right? Because he was advanced. Sorry?
Was it in his destiny, like this is Krishna Karma?
What was, it was in his destiny to get diverted?
Yeah, like this had to happen, like.
This is a very good excuse, right? Krishna wants us to stay in this material world.
Like what we should understand from this.
It's not his destiny. He allowed himself. He allowed himself knowingly. He allowed himself to fall. Meaning that when he took that one step, instead of checking himself and catching himself and saying, no, I'm doing something wrong, he just allowed himself. Go read back each and every word what he spoke. He said that even though one is in the renounced order, he's in the renounced order. One who is advanced certainly feels compassion for suffering living entities. One should certainly neglect his own personal interest, meaning that I go back home, back to Godhead, although they may be very important to protect one who has surrendered. Right?
I would like to know the meaning of the books. Is there a significance?
Yeah,
in this?
we will read about it later.
Okay, or the picture.
Yes, yeah. This is another section of the fifth canto, or the Rudras, right? No, I cannot say that it's destiny that I fall down. Destiny is what I do, action and reaction. What is not destiny is your free will. What do you decide to do? So because the soul, Jeev, is already very weak. The soul is tatastha, is marginal, meaning there is high probability that he will become attracted by the material world in different ways. Here he got attracted by affection, thinking he's the protector of that small animal. That was his Maya. He thought that I am the protector of that small animal, forgetting that there are other agents to take care of that child. Meaning you give, you take, but not at the expense of forgetting Vishnu. To think you are the sole protector. Right? So this is like such a small thing. That's that ahankar. Ishwaroham aham bhogi. Ishwara means I am the proprietor. First thing. He became proprietor of that deer. Then I became the controller of the destiny of that deer. And then he started to enjoy that deer. Right? He started to enjoy that deer. Fondling it, kissing him, catching him, right? He became the enjoyer of that deer. So it's not destiny, it's the free will. So Bhagavatam is speaking about it because Prabhupada is saying for our instruction, Bharat Maharaj acted in such a way, right? See, whatever is there in Bhagavatam, it's always an example of what may happen to us. Like we read earlier, Prithu Maharaj, how he got into a quarrel with who? Prithu Maharaj, he got in quarrel with who? Yes, Indra. Right? And Vishnu had to come down and say, what are you up to? Do your work. You're Shakyavesh avatar. Right? You've come here to do your work. Do your work. Let him aside. Right? He didn't even chastise Indra. He chastised the devotee. Right? So why these instances? To instruct your devotee, do your own work. Indra, he's attached to sense gratification, you can't change him. But you do your own work. And again to show us how great I may be, Shakyavesh avatar, but when anger takes over me, then I forget I'm Shakyavesh avatar. But we read somewhere, say, if we are in heart genuine, then Krishna, by the grace of Krishna, I can come back on the track. I come back on track. Right? Sorry, I come back on track. If I make a mistake, by the grace of Krishna, I come back on track. Right? If we are genuine and serious. Yes. And we also read, I don't know, King Priyavrat, Prithu Maharaj, how many years of austerity did he do? 36,000 years, right? And what did Prabhupada say about that? He says it takes many lifetimes. Alright? He said it takes many lifetimes to completely be purified of our anarthas, right? Of our anartha, our bad habits, our bad thoughts, bad habits, bad speech. It takes many lifetimes.
Also, Mataji, I may take a human form, but I may be born in a Muslim family, Christian family that doesn't believe in this philosophy. So, is that a break or?
We take birth according to our own state of consciousness. See, in whatever line of what we call dharma, we are following, meaning the rules and regulations. Dharma is there for all human beings, even among the aborigines. There is worship of something, right? Because this is my level of spiritual development. But I progress, meaning that I may be born in this condition, but by hearing and use of intelligence, I can move further. Obstacle may be more, attachment may be more, right? See, is it that every Hindu become Krishna conscious? Everybody knows this is not true. It's not equal. You don't equate Hindus and being Krishna conscious, right? It's not automatic. So even talking, preaching so much, one among so many thousand, we say, yes, I accept Krishna consciousness. So where you take birth, what you're following is immaterial. Because the soul, if the soul hears good sense, right? If he hears or she hears good sense, and it meaning good instruction, and the soul decides that I want to follow this, immediately become elevated. It makes sense? Yeah, so circumstances may, block us in many ways. But we have to remember one thing, that this Vedic culture, the Vedic instruction, was until 5,000 years ago, it was practiced the entire planet. But gradually people became fallen from the Vedic culture. So therefore, all these different groups came up. And because the Supreme Lord is merciful, so He sent agents everywhere, give them good instructions, right? So who, according to what they are, discipline them. And then because usually people are not very anywhere, Krishna says Himself in Bhagavad Gita, parampara gets broken. So when something is very simple, very easily those rules and regulations get broken. Whereas the Vedic science is so intricate, so scientific, that by reasoning you can again take back. Even if you lose a culture, you lose sight of why follow the 483 principles. How many years it took me to understand why we are following 483 principles? How many years I had to study Prabhupada's books for me to understand only these 4 points, why am I following 483 principles? I never understood. So by reading, studying, and other people will, like somebody said, even 10 years I've been in the movement, say, where is it said in your Gita that there are 483 principles? You show me.
Which principle?
No meat eating, no intoxication. You show me in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says these 483 principles. How many years it took me to find out that is in Bhagavatam first canto? Right? So, I'm just saying, ignorance is so much. If we don't take the trouble, to read and study properly, we will remain ignorant. So, whoever is studying properly, they can progress. So, even though we may break the regulatory principles, why 483 principles should be only 3, it's easier. It's okay for, no need to follow 483 principle. But when you study, then you understand why 483 principles. Right? This is widespread stuff, in general ISKCON, I can't follow 483 principles. So I follow only 3, illicit sex is okay. Right? But when you study, then you know the consequence. Right? And that was common knowledge. And more, then you think, it's just a rule and regulation that's been pushed on me, But no, now you go to the larger body of the Vedic scripture, you go to Ayurveda. When you go to Ayurveda, you study the anatomy, then you understand why four-eyelid principle. Right? What I'm saying is that ignorance is dangerous. So even Hare Krishna people, if they don't study sufficiently, we are going to make so many mistakes. We don't get convinced about our own philosophy. Right? Then it just become a ritual, four-eyelid principle, chant Hare Krishna. Right? Then I take the vow, chant Hare Krishna, then I decrease my number of rounds. It's okay, I'm too busy. Right? All right. So this is a very, very important section which is discussing about sadhana. This is about sadhana here. How to be vigilant. All right.
All the time on the guard.
Yes. Yeah. So if, as I was saying, because the soul is so weak, marginal, somewhere it said that we are already in Maya. So to fall back in Maya is only just one step away, right? Isn't it? So therefore, how much we depend on Krishna's mercy, how much we depend on the mercy of the devotees, right? So bhakti is practiced in sangha. Alone we can't do it. Right? Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasimile cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.